Okay, so before we hop into your session, I'm going to go over a couple things just so I can answer any questions if you have any beforehand. So I pulled you some oracle cards. We're not going to go over them in the session, but I'm going to send you pictures and their guidebook descriptions because that'll be a deeper level of messaging. And then I asked each one of your chakras what kind of crystals would help them with healing and growing. And so I built you a crystal grid, which I will also send you pictures of. And if you need any, or if you have any additional questions, you can ask as well. And then the replay takes about 24 hours to process. So I should have it maybe to you today, but definitely by tomorrow. And so, any questions about that?
No, that is just what I need. So thank you.
Perfect. Okay. I'm going to go over your notes just to make sure that I have everything.
Okay.
So, questions that we wanted to talk about were doubting ourselves and our spiritual gifts. Okay. I know that you recently moved, you sold your home,
Yes.
and we're living with our parents, and that's a little bit triggering. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I did want to ask, and we'll do that in a minute, but about giving the money that you're going to receive from your home to your former students. So I was curious about what kind of students, like, are they children students or are they like magical, like adult students? Don't get
No,
into
good.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
good question.
We're a little worried about living independently in the future, and chronic back pain.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
Does that sound about right?
got it.
Okay, we'll try and get as much as we can in the next hour. Okay. So,
You.
okay. So I'll tell you what I saw when I went into your energy field, and we can start there. And
Okay.
everything's kind of interconnected with one another anyway, so it'll all make sense here. So when I went in, I saw a polar bear. I haven't seen a polar bear in a person's energy field in a very long time. So that was cool. But I saw one walking around, and polar bear in shamanism, okay, it can be interpreted as camouflage and trying to hide self, although they are a very powerful being.
Mhm.
And I think that's what you have been experiencing. Probably the fear of being seen, being perceived, probably fear of being persecuted, which we'll get into. Okay. And when I went deeper into your field, I was asking whoever wanted to come up, hey, what's going on here? Because that's obviously symbolism. Okay. And I heard a little voice inside, which was one of your inner children, said, I'm worried we're going to lose everything. And I said, okay. I said, what are we afraid that we're going to lose? Because that can mean a lot of different things. And she said, the attachments we already have. And I
Mhm.
said, what do you mean by attachments? And she was really meaning family members or friends or just the connections that you have in this incarnation. Okay. And I said, well, why do you think that you would lose them? And she said, because we're going to get even more weird. Okay. So, like, she has this fear that you are going
Oh
to
my
like
God.
go off the woo deep end and then become like a person that wears a tinfoil hat.
Well, the good news is that I've been hearing her then. So,
Oh, good. Okay. Okay.
okay,
Perfect. Okay. What have you
that's
been
where that's
hearing?
coming from.
What
I
have you
mean, those
been hearing from
are
her?
my exact fears. I just didn't know she was the one able to articulate them.
Yeah, she's about 8 years old, is like
Okay.
around that age. Yeah, because we have lots of inner children within
Yeah.
because they have different
Yeah.
consciousness levels and have
For
experienced different
sure.
things. She's about 8. And she was like,
Hmm.
I don't want to be any more weird because it's already been tough as it is. Because we have been the rainbow sheep. Okay.
Yeah.
So so you know what's really funny is this morning in the shower. I know this is like a personal thing, but I think it will relate to her. Okay. So that she doesn't feel so alone about this. So in the shower this morning, I just had all of these memories of me in my 20s, specifically around a lot of friends who were my friends during that time, but I never really felt understood and I never really felt seen. And I was so sensitive, and everybody was like, oh my God, you're so sensitive, and all these different things. And like they were weird, but I was on a whole nother level. Okay. Like, and
Yeah.
it
Hmm.
just was very, very lonely. I just never felt completely loved by anyone. Doesn't matter if they're family or friends, because they were never on the same frequency as me,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so I usually had to make adjustments
Hmm.
to accommodate other persons and tone myself down and mask and people please and all these different things. And this morning I was like, where are all these memories coming. And I'm like, what is happening? And now when I tapped into your energy field, I was like, oh yeah, every time I do a client session, I usually get bombarded with things from my past so I can relate to their inner children. So
Sorry
I
about
was
the
like, oh.
flashbacks, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Now I will say with that version of me and versions of me when I was younger this morning, when that stuff started coming up, which I'm sure it does with you still, right? Because it's something you're still actively in the middle of, especially. I'm not as active in that, but I was like, hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay that it hurts and
Okay.
that it did hurt. It's okay. Like it's all right if we still are grieving,
Yeah.
that part of ourselves. It's okay if y'all feel jaded. It's okay.
Mm,
It's like all that's fine.
okay.
I was like, y'all can just feel your feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna say, oh, it's done, it's gone, whatever. Like it just is what it is. Okay.
Yes.
So I think I was meant to tell you that as well,
Yes.
to say that to them. Like, hey, even if
Yeah.
you in the present are currently feeling that,
Mhm.
fine.
It's okay.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
I'm feeling good
It's
about
fine to
that.
feel our feelings. You even pulled this card earlier, and what it says on it, it says, I honor how I want to feel. And sometimes you don't want to feel good. Sometimes you just want to be mad and throw a hissy fit, and
Yeah.
that's okay too, okay? Right.
So true.
With the
Yeah.
injustices. Okay.
Yes.
So what I was feeling from her is, hey, if we continue down this path,
Mhm.
we're going to lose even more people that we barely have, okay, but like barely have right now. And
Mhm.
I was trying to explain to her, which you'll have to do this in your own time as well, of, hey, I know that you have not had great representors of very magical beings who just get it.
Yeah.
But the more that we step into that, the more that they are going to be in our life. Like, honestly,
Mhm.
when I finally said, you know what, these persons may not be for me, like some of them are still going to stick around, obviously, your family and things like that. But I was like, I have to be authentic. I have to do that, even if nobody is here with me. And there was a time period when I went on a very lonely-esque journey, but that healed my abandonment wounds with myself because I had
Yeah.
to learn myself I love myself on incredibly deep levels. That's when my
Yeah.
soul tribe members came in. And I was
Okay.
trying to explain to her, you're on the same path right now. Okay. It's like, what are we going to do here? We're kind of like
Yeah.
in limbo of like, I'm scared to go over here, but I know that it'll be better.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what is coming up for you when I say all these things?
Just like when you said we're gonna lose more people, immediately I heard, but we can't lose ourselves again. Like
Mm,
it's this work that I've been doing to stop perpetually abandoning myself to show up for
yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I have felt so alone and I'm afraid of feeling even more alone. But then I have these nuggets of hope where, like, but the closer you get to who you are, the more you're going to attract
Oh, yeah.
like-minded things and fulfilling, soulful relationships. But that limbo is frightening and
Mm,
lonely. And the more you try to disrupt patterns with people in your life, the more pushback there is and the more isolating it becomes. So everything is just spot on. And just speaking to that kind of like constant inner dichotomy that I feel of like, "Well, we're gonna get there, but like, what the are we doing?"
mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and just being afraid to lose everyone, but then knowing that like the real work is making sure I don't lose all the past versions of me this time and ignore all the past versions to try to fit into someone else's future plans, if that makes
It
sense.
absolutely does.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something over her before we move forward that I wish somebody had said to me. Okay. Is how do you lose something that you don't even have? Okay, not you, but
Mhm.
like the relationships in life right now. Like that was a huge fear of mine of like untethering myself from persons, right? And at some point I was like, girl, like they don't even get us right now anyway. So like
So
like
true.
we might as well just go
Yeah.
hardcore
Oh
and
my
just
God.
go the other way. And you know what's so funny is that I didn't really even lose a whole lot of people in that. Probably, like, yeah, some people like fell away, but then other persons were like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks that yeah, that totally makes sense that you went full witchy
Yeah.
crystal
We saw it coming.
alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like it was actually a really smooth integration, to be honest with you. Like, the people that were
Yeah.
very close that like aren't going to
Yeah.
exit my life, like family members and things like that. Now there were friends that like left, but honestly, like I wasn't really losing anything. It was actually causing a lot more disruptions in my life than anything because I was constantly having to people please and mask and
Yeah,
tone myself
exactly.
down. Like it was exhausting to do that, right?
Yeah.
So we have to kind of get her and probably many other facets of yourself on board with like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like I will always be here. Okay. Like, how can y'all feel lonely and abandoned if I'm here? Which I think that you are really on the upswing of that precipice because you're seeing yourself as a higher self now. You're not Megan the trauma.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Right.
observing the trauma.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
huge,
Yes.
right?
Thank you.
Yes. And that's when we can come in because there's the things that I had very deep abandonment and trust wounds from childhood. And even now to this day, like I get that loneliness feeling and I have to go in and remind them, like, what do you mean I'm right here?
Right.
Like, what
Right.
can we do together? Like they're pining for like attention
Yeah.
from somebody
Yes.
who sees and understands. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what can I
It's
do for you?
right.
Right. But you
Right.
have to separate yourself from them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what helps them feel safe? What
Yeah.
helps them feel comforted and have fun? Like that's a question. Like what do they like to do?
Um, God, that's such a good question.
Maybe that's where we need to spend some more time is figuring out
Yeah.
what exactly do y'all need? Because what they need is
Yeah.
different from what adult Megan needs.
Yeah.
Like my inner children need to watch anime and they
Yeah.
need to go outside and look at animals.
Mm.
Okay. And look at fun pictures on Pinterest. Like
Yeah.
there's very specific inner children needs that are different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think having been a teacher, a high school teacher for over a decade, like,
Oh, the high school teacher.
yeah, like
Yeah, okay.
all the work that I did was like an attempt to give that Megan everything she needed. And
Hmm.
like in turn, I've now created, like, I don't have any biological children, but I've created this, like when you said people are gonna say that tracks, like the weird thing is it's my kids who say that tracks. Like they're like, you used to make us circle up and meditate every day. Like they're like
They
that
know.
track. Like they know. Yeah.
Kids
I
are
just
very
didn't expect
intuitive as well.
them to be the ones to like step up at 20 something and be like, girl, go for your life, start over, leave
Yeah.
teaching, like, so I think I've never paid attention to what those versions of Megan needed because I was so worried about making sure I was the adult all these other kids in my life needed.
Oh yeah, you're probably and listen, that probably healed a lot of your
Yeah.
abandonment wounds as well
Hmm.
of being able to hold safe space for
Yeah.
teens and things
Yeah.
like that and help them feel seen and heard and validated. So
Yeah.
we are probably living vicariously like through
Yes.
others too. So, but honestly, that sounds like a really good healing path that you put
Okay.
yourself on.
Okay.
Like
No,
otherwise you just wouldn't have been doing it. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
no, it's
Like we
true.
chose we chose a better path, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
good.
sh and
So it's
she
like
probably they
twofold.
probably loved you. They probably thought you were super cool and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean,
They're
that
my
probably
babies.
healed a lot of your teen years.
It
But
did.
maybe we need to get more into the m- okay, let me see how your higher self wants me to word it. Get into the mothering caretaker role for our much younger facets.
Yeah.
Not the like cool, yeah. Okay, like we healed that part. We need to go a little bit deeper.
I don't disagree. Yeah. If
Yes.
there's a part of myself that's hardest to connect with, it's like 4-year-old, and then I jump to like 14-year-old. So I
Hmm.
think the reason I struggle to connect with that those other ages, um, I think I have lost total touch with her and like don't know I don't even remember what she went through, to be honest. So,
Abandonment wounds are very tough to work through. They are,
yeah.
especially if y'all are still working on your relationship together. Like my children inside that had abandonment wounds, they didn't want to connect with me either because it's like, okay, well, if I put my trust and faith in you and then you
Yeah.
just like don't help me, then it's just like you're abandoning me, right?
Yeah.
So this is why well, let's talk about inner child healing really quick for that age. So when we are working with abandonment wounds, that's very scary. Okay. It causes our whole central nervous system to flare up and go in fight or flight. That's probably also why you have a lot of chronic back pain, among other things that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
But we cannot just jump in talking about abandonment stuff with them.
Yeah.
Like they need to have fun and y'all
Yeah.
need to build a trust bond first. All of that stuff can wait. Okay, which the funny thing is, you holding safe space and helping her feel seen, heard, and validated, and having fun. That is actually what heals the abandonment wounds. It doesn't even have to be you sifting through trauma. Like, yeah, there's probably some stuff you're gonna have to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
depending on what comes up. But for the most part, to heal abandonment wounds is you showing up every day.
Yeah.
That's it. It's literally just be like, girl, I'm here. What do
And
you
I
want to
like
do?
know that, like logically, I know that because I tell other people that. I'm like, you don't have to relive your trauma to
Yeah,
show little whoever that you are the adult they needed now. Like, so if I know that logically, why am I struggling to apply that specifically so much to that? Maybe it's the fun piece. I struggle to have fun and laugh and like, yeah, maybe that's it.
fun is a form of shadow work.
Yeah.
If you didn't get to have a lot of fun as a child because of various trauma wounds and abandonment wounds, fun is actually the thing that heals. So, do we
That's
not
interesting.
feel worthy of having fun? Is it
Yeah.
because we're too anxious or our
Yeah.
body hurt? Like what is the underlying factor there? Or like we just don't even know what we like to do.
I think it's just like this, like I have to be available, responsible. I have to be like studious. I have to play a sport every season. I have to get straight A's. I have to emotionally regulate my parents. My dad's fairly busy, so I have to partner my mom. Like, I think there was just this, and then in school, even, I would get pulled out of class to go counsel like other student issues as a middle school.
Mm,
And it was like the teachers would use me to regulate other kids. So I think I just never got to be a kid who had fun. Like in every setting I was in,
hmm.
was the pseudo adult or the kid that the adults leaned on to like get through to the other kids.
Okay. One of the cards that you pulled was play. That we need that. Okay.
How
So
appropriate.
yeah, so what I'm hearing is she's scared to do that
Yeah.
because you're just never allowed to do that, right? But like that's not part of your identity, it's not part of your core. Our core is responsibility and
Yeah.
overachieving and perfectionism and people pleasing, right? So
Yeah.
this is where you're gonna have to kind of take the reins here. One, noticing that fun sounds scary to her.
Yeah.
So we need
To
to bear that in
even
mind.
to me now.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need to bear that in mind. Okay, so we don't need to go a million miles per hour and be a perfectionist and overachiever with fun. Okay,
Don't go skydiving, like
okay,
start small.
all
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So we need to bear that in mind of when we're
Okay.
having fun and our central nervous system is kicking on because that's going to happen in the first stage. Okay, we need to remind her, hey, you're safe.
Okay.
Safety is like the number one thing with kids.
Yeah.
Okay. You're
Yeah.
safe. We're going to take this in your time. Like we're going to do it. Okay. But we're going to not push you and
Yeah.
force you to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to kind of take the reins here and create time to have fun.
Yeah.
That can be 10 minutes. It
Yeah.
literally, because this is what I foresee for you of like, I have to block off 2.5 hours on Wednesday. Okay.
I
Which
must laugh.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Which I love that because I used to do that. I used to schedule in time to feel my
Yeah.
emotions because like it's
Mhm.
hard to break away from that patterning, right?
Mhm.
However, what I have noticed is it's not quantity, it's quality with them.
Yeah.
And so even if you sit down for 10 minutes in color, or you go look at the animals outside for 10 minutes, or you look at fun Pinterest pictures for 10 minutes, you color, or, just anything for like 10 minutes, that's
Okay.
going to have such a bigger impact.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
really is. If you do 10 minutes if you can commit to, hey, I am going to check in with you for 10 minutes every day. And I'll tell you something else that's very helpful, because I assume that you're neurodivergent. So,
I
so
don't really know how
okay,
yet, but
yeah,
yes, I
okay.
have to be.
There's some flavoring there. Okay,
Yeah.
so uh, my brain really doesn't do well if I don't have a timer, because I'm afraid that I'm going to start hyper focusing and then time gets
But
away from
timers
me,
all the
especially because I
time.
have a lot of responsibilities and things of that nature. So I'll even set a 10-minute timer.
Okay.
And I
Hmm.
know that sounds very like,
No, I do it for everything else.
right,
So why
right.
wouldn't I do it for that?
And
Yeah.
I'm going to say over her and you at the same time, okay, the timer is not indicative of me only wanting to spend 10 minutes with you. I'm doing this because this is how our brain works. Because we don't want to think, like, oh, we have 10
Oh
minutes for
my
you. Okay, no,
God.
this is how our
Uh,
brain works, and we're setting ourselves up for success. And so
mhm.
that we both feel safe, because she's probably that way too, honestly. So we're both setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not abandoning you by saying I only want to spend 10 minutes with you right now. Okay.
That's so
Okay.
crazy. I didn't even know I needed to hear that and she needed to hear that, but
Yes. Yes.
thank you for saying that.
10 minutes creates a
Yeah.
snowball effect.
Yeah.
If we can do 10 minutes, it's like, oh, you know what? That felt like right before we got on here, Megan, I actually did that with my inner child because she was having some like anxiety stuff. And
Yeah.
I felt a gajillion times better. Set my
Yeah.
timer for 10 minutes. And we
Yeah.
went to imagination land and we just did some fun stuff. And then I popped out on the other side. She felt safe and calm. I felt
Mhm.
safe and calm. And then we went into the session. Great, right? 10 minutes, find something. Ask her what she wants to do. Ask her, what can we do for
Yeah.
10 minutes? If you can't do it physically, do it in
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Do it in your
Okay.
imagination.
Okay.
They love that. Your
Yeah.
subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's going on in your imagination and what's going on outside of you.
Okay.
If you start to go on these imagination lands, okay, inside, you're going to see things start to reverberate outside of your reality as well. You're going to start pulling more magic into you.
Okay.
Okay,
Ooh,
you'll see the results and the
yeah.
results of helping her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So
Yeah.
questions about that.
No, I just, yeah, 10 minutes coloring, imagining. I think just like letting her lead,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Because she
and
can
not,
use your body now.
yeah, like,
It's not her taking over. I just want to say that, okay? But it's her
yeah,
consciousness
no,
coming forward. You
no.
say, girl, you have a whole body. You can do stuff with it.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like it just makes so much sense. So I'm just like excited now to give her permission to like take my hand. I think I'm just so used to being like,
Mm-hmm.
take my hand, I'm safe. Like I think I've done that part. Now it's like you take my hand
Mm-hmm.
and come explore with you, and not be afraid of all the things that society puts into your brain about going to playgrounds and being safe and being a girl and being, like we are safe to explore a treasure island in our brain. There's no one there that we haven't invited. So,
It's
yeah,
1,000,000% safe in here. I used to be petrified of
yeah,
everything out in the world because of
yeah.
the way that I was raised, and also like programming in society saying all this stuff right now. My inner children, one, were terrified to even be in our imagination because that
Okay.
was looked down upon, right? So I was like, okay, there's
Mhm.
layers here.
Yeah.
We need to just start in here first and feel
Right.
safe, okay? And then we can start traversing like out here. And I will
Yes.
say now, like I feel 1,000,000% safe no matter where I go in my outer reality,
Yeah.
no matter what is happening, no matter who I'm around. But I had to start here first and say, like, hey, it's safe to have fun. It
Yeah.
is safe to play. It is safe to enjoy ourselves.
That's
It
so
is
cool.
safe to feel pleasure. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yes, going in here. And
Yeah.
sometimes our inner children are our higher self because
Yeah.
they're much closer to source
Of
and
course.
imagination and creativity. She is going to help you with two things. Okay. One is helping you with your magic and your spiritual gifts. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
That's where it is with the inner
That makes
kids. Okay.
sense. Like, why am I
Okay.
so stuck? That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So she's going to help you with that. The second one, this 8-year-old, once you form a trust bond with her,
Mhm.
all those other inner kids within you that have abandonment and trust wounds are going to start coming forward. It just takes one of them to be like, okay, I trust you. And they start
Yeah.
vouching. And
Yeah.
like,
That's what
actually,
happened with
it's
my
great. It's so fun.
teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All the
So,
high schoolers, like, I'm like, you're not in my class. And they're like, I am now. Like, it was
yeah.
just a magnet for all these
Yeah.
kids. You're right. There's this gap of time missing in my memory, my healing, my connection to my younger self. So that makes so much sense that 8 years old is what came forward. Yeah.
Sometimes they will take all the negative memories and
Mhm.
all the positive memories and smush them up together and repress them so you
Yeah,
don't
they're
have
all
to.
gone.
Right. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's scary to think about like all these negative things that are going to come up. What you
Yeah.
can do is ask her to show you positive ones first.
Yeah. That's
Just be like,
true.
hey, we don't have to look at all that stuff right now. How about you
Right.
just show me the things that you enjoyed and
What are
you
the fun
remember?
things?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll just start there.
Yeah. I love
Okay.
that
Because
idea.
I had
Okay.
forgotten tons of things when I was a kid that were like awesome,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
right? It was just a black like void
Yes.
space.
Exactly.
Okay.
Literally. Empty
Yes.
space. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Of
Would you mind terribly if I run to the restroom really quick? I drink a ton of water
course
when I'm
not.
there. Okay.
Please
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be back in just a second. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to talk about a couple of the other things that I saw in here, and then we'll segue into some of the questions that you had. So,
Okay.
tell me about your chronic back pain. What's going on there? Have you always had that?
So, um, when I was 16, I had my first herniated disc.
Mm,
We think it was from playing basketball, but I recently remembered that's also the same age of my first like SA experience. And so like I literally just had that recollection or like connection maybe 2 weeks ago.
mm-hmm.
So, but that's when it started. So I had a pretty major surgery at 16, which was 19 years ago, and have just battled it on and off since then. I've had numerous procedures. I've had a spinal cord stimulator implant put in. I've had injections. I've done all kinds of therapies. I've had my nerves cauterized in my spine multiple times. I've gone vegan. Um, I've done pretty much everything I can until it was recommended that I go to pelvic floor physical therapy to really work on like strengthening deep core muscles. And that's when I realized that like I'm not comfortable communicating with my body in that region. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's probably like now I know that that's probably where a lot of like why no treatment is working and
Yeah.
why all of that. But it's something I dealt with on and off until October of 2022. And I'd been probably thinking about leaving teaching forever. But it forced me out. And I don't know if I ever was gonna leave if my body didn't make me leave.
Mm-hmm.
And so since then I've just been trying to figure out, I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a copywriter. And then I was like, maybe I'll be a meditation teacher. And then I don't know, I had this big 3-story townhouse. I always thought I'd have a family and a husband, and that never happened. So I sold that, moved in with my parents, literally just sold my house on the 23rd. My fur baby didn't pass away until I moved in with my parents. So she was waiting
Mm,
for that, obviously. She
I'm
didn't want me
sorry.
to go
Yeah.
while I was alone. I got her like 2 or 3 months after I moved into that home when I bought it. I was 23 when I bought it. And then she passed about 2 months after I moved out. So that I know was like divine timing, but I think my back is like we can't clean this much house. We can't take care of this
Mm-hmm.
and sustain all of this. And then now I'm at a place where I can't even like hold a 5-day work week job. And then I'm like, well, now I don't want to. And so what do I do and how can I accommodate my back but still be able to travel and have a fulfilling like quality of life? But I have pretty much exhausted like all medical procedural options. And
Mm-hmm.
when I go to spine doctors, they're like, honestly, it doesn't look that bad. So, like, I have bulging and herniated discs throughout my entire spine, and my lower back, my vertebrae are like vacuuming together because my discs are so compressed.
Mhm.
But there's not like a surgery or anything that would fix it. So I'm in this space now where I'm like, I have to heal myself. And I'm not really sure where to start, but I know that um more procedures and medications are not what's going to do it. But if people keep telling me, oh, like back pain's related to like support, things like that, and so I don't know. Yeah, I've done some, I think, tapping into the reasons why, but like not sure where to start when it comes to healing.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get into that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we are okay. Just because you have things that are going on energetically in your body does not mean they're not also physical. So you have, actual physical manifestations of things, right? And
Yeah.
we don't know if you soul contracted to do that so that you can help
Right.
people with all these different things. Like there could be a million different reasons for that, right? But we are starting to realize like we have exhausted the physical implications of what we can do with our back, and now we actually know that the rest of it is energetic. Like that we're
Yeah.
going to have to do that, right? Okay. So one of those things, okay, well, before we get into this, what do you want to be doing, Megan? What do you want to be doing? Like, okay. And how long, because you're selling your house and you're getting your money. How long can you go without getting a 3D job? Roughly.
Probably a few years.
Great. Okay. So that takes a lot of pressure off. Okay. I know it doesn't because you're like, no, I need
Yeah.
money now. Okay. I don't
In
want to
my
be a
brain, I'm
parent.
like, you need to buy a land and tiny house and go mortgage free and da 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 da. Like, and
Let's
that's
okay, let's take that pressure off right now. Okay. So for first, we're safe. Like, yes, it's probably not ideal that you're living with your parents because
yeah,
that's probably also inducing even more back pain because your
yeah,
higher self. And it's so funny that, okay, because we have very similar energetics because I had chronic back pain for years and years and years, and no
mm,
doctors could figure out what's going on. And I actually started taking like opioids for it. And
yeah,
that started getting out of hand. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, I cannot do this. I was like,
yeah.
that is a path that I do not need to be on. I said, I got to heal myself. This is
Hmm.
something energetically
Hmm.
because my body's defense mechanism is my back.
Yeah.
When I look at most people, Megan, okay, they have what's known as like a pranic tube where their life force energy runs through like a not a colander, that's for spaghetti.
Column.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, column that runs
Uh,
through. And you and I and other people too, but we have backs where the life force energy runs like a panel over our whole entire body.
oh
Okay.
gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it actually spreads out over our whole entire backs.
That just gave me
So,
chills.
yeah. So when things affect us, it affects us on a bigger capacity
Yeah.
for bigger parts of our body. Okay. But that's also really good, on the other hand, when you do kind of get more of a handle on this because your intuitive abilities, like you utilize your whole body for that
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of like you just have a much greater capacity to receive and output information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But if you're around people, places, opportunities, and experiences that are out of alignment, your body will shut down on you. Okay. It's a
Mm.
fight or it goes into fight or like you're in a perpetual state of fight or flight. Like your central nervous system is agitated. Okay.
Perpetual literally
Yeah.
feels like
Even
never
now,
ending.
even now
Yes.
with you not even being there,
Yes.
like, yeah, and being with your parents was probably a little
It's
triggering as
constant.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
first off, like how long has it been since you left your job?
I never went back. October 2022 was
Okay.
my last day in the classroom. I officially resigned in December of that year because I thought I was going to be able to go back, but December of 2022 is when I submitted my letter.
What happens after we unplug okay, from the I don't like to call it matrix because that's like a whole overlord thing that we don't have to get into. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know.
When we
Yeah.
unplug from 3D, okay.
Yeah.
What
Mhm.
happens is, if you have always been in a perpetual state of fight or flight, is you go through a major burnout period.
Mm.
Major burnout because you have years and years and years and
Yeah.
stuff that is all of a sudden starting to come to the surface because now you got all the time. You got
Yeah.
all the time to look at
Yeah.
it. You just in your brain. Okay, so you're actually agitating your
Literally.
own central nervous system, but at the same time, it's healing,
Yeah.
right? So the period that you're in was set up by you so that
Yeah.
you can come out on the other side and be better on the other side. Okay?
Yeah. I
And go
trust
into
that.
this next chapter of your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
As hard as it is, I trust that. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
one, we need to give ourselves a little bit more grace and compassion of like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing enough. Actually, I'm saving myself right now.
Mm.
Like that's actually what's happening.
No, that's literally what it feels like. But then my brain will tell me like, but you're not,
Oh, sure, sure. Because
you know,
there's no tangible
yeah, you're
goals
not
and there's no
planning, you're
tangible,
not
right,
making money, you're not, yeah. Hmm.
right, right. Okay.
Hmm.
Which I get it. And some days we're more in our ego than we are in the
Yeah.
higher self. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
okay. So you have a lot of, when I was looking at your energy field, crystalline energy in your back. This is from
Hmm.
PTSD, this is from trauma, this is from your central
Okay.
nervous system being activated all the time, but there's not um a what's the word? A flow of life force energy. It's like getting snagged everywhere in your back. Okay. One of the reasons that's happening is because you have a lot of powerful spiritual gifts, which I'm sure that you're aware of. Okay. And your body is shutting down on you because of that fear of being seen. And it is a self-sabotaging behavior. That is not because of anything that you're doing consciously. It's like if I open up her channels in her back,
Yeah.
then we're
I'm
going to be off into
scared.
weirdo land. Okay,
Mhm.
which also has to do with your inner children.
Yeah.
So that's why we spent so much time talking about them too, because we really need to get them on board with feeling safe and being weird and being seen, because then it's okay for our body to relax and it's okay for it to open up those channels and start to flush out that crystalline energy and stop perpetually hurting itself to keep you from moving forward. Okay. And I'm saying this not to
Yeah.
like scare you. Sometimes when we bring awareness to it and
Mhm.
we're like, I see you and I see what you're doing.
Makes sense.
I see what you're doing. Okay. Now we have more, not necessarily control over the situation. We can empower ourselves more.
Yeah.
And now we can actually start to talk to our physical body like you do your inner children.
Mhm.
Because your physical body is a completely different consciousness than multidimensional Megan. Okay. There's a human vessel,
Right.
and within
Mhm.
that is the ego and the central nervous system, your subconscious.
Yeah.
We have to start coming in as a multidimensional form and being like, listen, it's totally okay that this is happening. And I appreciate you. What a beautiful honor that you have done this to keep me safe. We love you for that. But I
Yeah.
also need to come in and explain to you why this is not going to serve us in our next chapters of our life.
Yeah.
And does it always happen overnight? Sometimes. Sometimes it is a process of you continuing to teach your body, I'm safe. And it doesn't matter if people think we're weird because they already do.
Yeah.
Like, what? What's the baseline here? Okay,
Yeah.
like what does it matter if we like our
It's
family's
so
not going
true.
to up and dump us? Okay, like yeah, maybe we lose some friends.
Yeah.
Okay, but that also opens the window to gain people
Mhm.
who actually do understand and love us.
Yeah. You're
And I
so
know your
right.
family and friends do too, but like true, deep,
Yeah.
unconditional love, right? But
Yeah.
it's scary because you don't have that right now. So like making that, but you don't have it anyway. So
And
what
so what's there to lose? Yeah.
what is it? Right? And
Truly.
I'm not trying to say that to be like depressing. Okay.
No, but like
Yeah. Yeah. So
really.
like what's there
Yeah.
to lose? Like what is there to
Yeah.
lose?
I said that the
Sometimes
other
you
day. I was like, I'm gonna buy this moldavite because what
yeah,
else?
what are you gonna do?
What
I'm
like
not
right.
bottom,
What
but
else
yeah.
is there? You
Right.
know, like
Yeah.
go for it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes though you need to take it there with the inner children. Like oftentimes when my inner kids are like freaking out, I'll be like, I want to sit down and I want y'all to tell me the worst case scenarios. I
Yeah.
want you to tell me everything that could go horribly, horribly wrong. And sometimes it's dark. Okay. And I'll say, okay, now we're going to sit down and I'm going to tell you the action plan for every single one of those.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what we would do. And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, she does have a plan. She will protect us. She will keep us safe. Oh, I can take a breath. I don't need to take on that responsibility of being the higher self. I can give that to her." So it's okay to do that. I know that in the past you probably didn't want to do that because you would get very depressed, but we also didn't have the tools and
Yeah.
resources and
You're
we
right.
weren't the higher self at that point.
You're right. And that's so crazy because I do that with my kids all the time. I'm like, okay, Anne, let's go there. Worst case
Yeah.
scenario. You
Yeah,
still
yeah.
have, you still have, but I've never like sat and done that for me. So,
It can take it literally makes me feel like a brand new person after that because it's not me that feels that way. It's me
yeah.
of the past that is just holding on to this programming and trauma and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, well, let's talk about it.
Right. Yeah. No, it's so true. And I know that. I have all the tools, skills, resources necessary to navigate all of whatever comes, you know?
Yeah,
Like logically, I know that. But yeah, I don't
we got to
spend enough
separate a
time.
little bit more from them. We
Yeah,
really need
yeah.
to start making that distinction of
Sit
like,
down, like family meeting.
yes, council
Yeah,
meeting, family meeting, whatever you want to
right.
call it. Okay, this is not my pain.
Yeah. Mm,
Even with the body, the things that you're going through right now, this is not my pain.
yeah.
What can I do to help you feel more safe?
Wow.
How can I support you? How can I listen to you? How can I talk you through this? What kind of self care practices can I help you with? Right now, are you always going to be able to stay up in that multidimensional form? No,
Right.
because there's 3D be getting you. Okay. But the more times that you can intentionally separate, even if it's just for a minute, and start like I do that now, like I'll be like, Sage, you're doing so much right now. Okay. What can I help you with? And start to have those conversations because honestly, that's actually how you shift up into the new higher self because you're momentarily becoming her. And then
Yeah.
you start to like latch onto that identity and that frequency, and all of a sudden you are her. But you
Wow.
actually have to take time to
Mhm.
be her, and you have time.
I do.
Right.
I really
Right.
do.
So we just need
Mhm.
to start doing that more intentionally.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So some of the things that can help are one, like what do we want to do here? Like what are we wanting to do ultimately? Like if you had all the tools and resources and the money and all these different things, like what do you want to do? Because I know you want to help people in some type of capacity because you're a healer. Okay. So what does that look like? If you had full confidence, full empowerment in self.
I think what I struggle with is that there are like factions of myself. Like part of me would be in Gaza, part of me would be ending the school to prison pipeline, part of me would be hosting retreats with other badass female entrepreneurs around the world so that women can heal. And,
Mhm.
like, so I don't know, I think, where to channel and like, I keep being told I'm a healer. I'm like, how do you know that? How do I know that? Like, how do I do that? But I don't know. So people keep telling me to write a book. I don't know where to
Well, the one
go.
thing that people keep on telling you to do stuff, one, we need to not do that. Okay.
Yeah,
Because we've been doing that for a long time. Okay.
that's so
So we
true.
need to,
So
what does
true.
Megan want to do? Okay.
I
What?
just want to make a difference, I think. I just want to help people heal. And I also really want to help other people with chronic pain, like find peace and live fulfilling lives. Because I keep being told, like, oh, you're only 35, but I've dealt with this for 19 years. So more of my life than without it. And I'm tired. And I just want to help other people like feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then part of me
So
also really wants like a really quiet life where I don't have to deal with anyone but like the love of my life and a dog or a cat.
I think you're saying that though, because you haven't been around magical people. I
Oh,
think you're saying that because like
that makes
just
sense.
for just the context, used to hate people.
Yeah. Okay.
because I would just be in perpetual fight or flight around them. And I would just draw on negative energy vampires and just be like a whole hot mess, right? And we love her though, okay? And not hot mess, but there's
Right.
a lot going on,
Right.
okay? So I love people now. I look, but I'm only around magical people. I'm only around neurodivergent, weirdo, alien, magical. Like I get paid
Amazing.
to just do this all the time and just have conversations. Like it's literally the most fun, fulfilling thing ever.
That
But
is
I
so
also went through that same process that you're on right now. And I think the reason that you want to go hermit and hide is because you haven't had representors of
cool.
people who really get you and uplift and inspire and support you, right? So that's why I'm like, hey, you're gonna end up doing some type of healing thing because that's really per your soul contract. It's like, no, we really do want to be in these places and spaces. I do want to bring more magic onto the earth. I do want to help people heal. I also think one of the reasons that you've had so many back issues is because you're actually a quantum healer. One of the things is you're a quantum healer, okay? And you can't quantum heal other people if you don't have something to quantum heal within self. So now you're kind of hitting the precipice of, okay, I've done all I can for my physical body, but this is actually something that I have to take to the quantum level and do.
Wow.
So that's the energy healing part that you're coming through. Now, me healing other people has healed myself
Yeah.
because I'm channeling all this healing energy like constantly right? And keeping myself in flow and in balance and homeostasis. But at the same token, if I'm doing things that are out of alignment, my body will just
Yes.
completely shut down on me. Okay. Right. So this is going to be your indicator moving
Regulation.
forward.
Oh my
That's your
gosh.
indicator
Yeah.
moving forward, though, is your indicator. If you're like, oh, I feel really like my body feels really good today,
Yeah.
we're headed down. Like, so actually, it's a blessing because now I can just very quickly discern, like, oh no, my body said no to that. Okay.
Okay.
And
That
sometimes
makes
I don't listen.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a couple things energetically that we can help with your back, okay, that you can do on your own. One, take this with a grain of salt because you have a lot of things going on in your back, okay, but like stretching can be really beneficial to
Yeah.
get crystalline energy, but like be very, very careful with that, okay, like
Yeah.
whatever your
Yeah.
body can do.
Mhm.
Qigong. Have you ever done Qigong before?
No, but
Okay.
I have, it has been recommended to me before.
Qigong is one of, okay, because I am such an open channel and because I help people with their energy fields, like I have so much energy that gets trapped in my back. Sometimes Qigong is the only thing that will get in there quantum fine tunedly enough to get that crystalline energy out. Like it makes a huge, huge difference. I'm going to send you some channels that you can do. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just got so excited, so
Yay.
that must
Okay.
be, yeah, okay.
It really is like
Okay.
life changing. Okay. Um, Reiki, Reiki for your back,
Mhm.
specifically for your back. You can find practitioners, and I'll try and find some too to send you that focus on back pain. Okay. Because then it's intentionally
Yes.
pointed at your back. Okay.
Mhm.
EFT tapping.
Yes.
Okay. Specifically for our back as well. Okay. But also like your legs, like
Yes.
legs. We need to be doing things for our
Hips,
legs.
legs,
Yeah, hips
yeah.
and legs and things like that.
Okay.
Our core.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
calming our central nervous system,
Yeah.
having fun with our kids. Okay. Doing grounding, being out in nature, asking Mother Gaia to help you get all that stuff out of your back, putting our bare feet on the earth, being
Yeah.
around water, all these things that you already know. Okay. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Again, take this with a grain of salt, okay, because you got things going on your back, but going to get a massage.
I do.
Good. Okay. Because
Do
that'll
like
that'll push some of
monthly.
that stuff out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
Okay.
good for your physical body. We need to be doing things energetically now.
Okay.
Qigong, Reiki,
Okay.
light language, whatever that looks like for you. We got to get in there at the quantum level. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
I just didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
So,
Qigong,
if-
Reiki, just like
yeah.
anything that's just energy for, and listen, not all practitioners are going to resonate with you.
Yeah,
You have
for
to
sure.
listen to your body. And if somebody doesn't feel good, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything about you and it doesn't mean anything about them. It just means y'all are not on the same frequency. So if I
Okay.
send you videos and you're like, this is not for me, don't stop there. Go find your own.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. But that is one of the ways that I help heal my back is by starting to do energy work on it, not just the physical stuff. Okay.
Doing so much healing.
So also continuing to work on the fear of being seen. because that's one of the reasons that your back is locking up on you and doing all this to keep you from your potentiality. And I don't mean potentiality in like a tangible capitalistic form. I just mean, hey, you got some really powerful gifts that are in your Akasha fields, and we can't open up to those if we don't feel safe. Right. But it's a process. Okay. So if you were going to go help somebody with something today and help them heal with something, what would you like to conversate with them about? Would it be the chronic pain and helping them navigate that? Or what would that look like for you?
Honestly, the thing I probably do on like the most daily basis is just like be people's biggest cheerleader and like let them know I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, safety. Okay. We help people feel safe and help
Yeah,
them heal their abandonment wounds.
I think that,
Okay. And empower them.
yeah, like one of my students was murdered, and when I went to her
Oh,
wake, well, that's, yeah, I have a few, but the most recent, when I went to her viewing, there was no one there.
oh
And
my
that,
God.
like, no family member, no nothing. And then the kids I talked to who were there before and after me said it was packed. So I have no clue why it was empty when I went. And
Interesting.
someone said to me, but you became a teacher so that every kid knows they have someone in this world they can count on. So of course you were there to make sure she wasn't alone. And I just started sobbing and was like, I was supposed to be there like an hour earlier. I was running late. It's like that's all I care about. When the jail call comes from my kids, I'll always answer, like whatever it is. And people are like, set boundaries. No, because I need them to know there will always be somebody that will answer.
I totally understand that. Okay, we want to save all the sweet babies. Like I'm very much like saving the sweet babies. Okay, I have a huge soft spot for kids. That's why I do inner child healing work now, right? Like I
Yeah.
love kids. I will say, as they are adults now,
No.
we cannot pour from an empty cup. Like I'm all about helping. We need to do that, but not at a place that is going to put you
Yeah.
because of all the physical things that you're going through as well. Like sometimes we do need to self-preserve, but we can
Yeah.
still be there emotionally.
Yeah.
We can say
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that we can do, but we don't need to be self-sacrificing because one, sometimes that self-sacrificing is not helping them and it's not helping you either. It's
That's true.
enabling.
Hmm.
I'm not saying you're enabling your kids, but just if that ever comes up in the future, sometimes it's dipping
Yeah.
into enabling
No,
land.
there's a
Okay.
fine line. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. And sometimes we are over giving because we're trying to prove our own worth to ourselves.
Mm.
And it's not actually about, and it is actually about helping the kids, okay, but it's also about like, okay, I have to help so many people so I can prove that I'm worthy. So we need to check that at the door as well when we're
Yeah.
doing things like this, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So if we want to help people feel safe, we want to help people with their abandonment wounds, we want to help them, just feel better in life. Like what about you says that you're not an energy healer? Like, what exactly are you getting tripped up on? Because just because you went into teaching doesn't mean that, I mean, lots of people go into teaching and nursing and all these social things because they are
True.
energy healers. They just did
True.
it in a 3D lens, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like I've been told you saved my life, and like
Yeah.
I've been told this so many times, but I think I really didn't tap into like spirituality and quantum anything until like 2 maybe 3 years ago. So I think it's just pure lack of exposure. Like I don't know what an energy healer does. I don't know. I mean, maybe I do because I'm already doing it, but like
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how to turn that into a business. I don't know how to tap into that more deeply, more effectively. I don't know how to create energetic boundaries, spiritual boundaries. Like, I don't have, I guess, like you said, any, I mean, I watch your videos all the time and they're like all saved because I really don't have any like teachers,
No.
mentors, role models in that space. So I was like raised Catholic, and it's very,
Yeah. Just a lot of programming to get through.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so just even like accepting that I don't give a man in the sky power over me anymore was like
Hmm.
a big deal. And so it's that fear of like being super weird. And then also, how do I know I'm not faking it? Like, how do I know
Hmm.
when I'm channeling something that I'm not just making this mess up? How do I know that this is real? Because I take helping people so seriously that like I would never want to lead them astray or cause further harm, or like to have someone trust you in that manner.
Hmm.
Like I didn't even know I could read tarot, and then people ask me, but it like makes me uncomfortable because I feel like it's like they put so much weight in it, and I'm like, but wait, you don't understand, this just represent like this one moment in time. And like I feel so like so much pressure, maybe is the word, of like I don't know.
No, I know exactly. Listen, I have been in the exact place. Like all of the things that you just said were exactly what I went through in the beginning stages of my spiritual ascension journey. I will say, like all of it, all of it. Okay.
Saying that because I feel like I'm just babbling
Yeah.
and making no sense. So thank you
No.
for saying that.
I will say that something that I realized along my journey is that it's not about learning, it's re-remembering.
Mm,
I already had all this stuff in me. It was
yeah.
deprogramming and it was healing through trauma and all this stuff, right? Once you take off the filter lenses and the distortions, then you're like, oh shit, this is me all along. And I've been doing this for a long, 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 long time. That's why I'm so natural at it. That's why you're so natural at it. That's why kids love you. That's probably why animals love you. It's probably everybody asks for your help, is they ask for your advice. You help them feel safe. You empower them. You always know just what to say. Like you're everybody's like mama bird, right? Because Megan has been a healer outside of this incarnation for a long time. Your ego is saying, "Oh no, we don't know any modalities, and we don't know
Yeah. Yeah.
we don't know what that means," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Modalities and all that stuff have nothing to do with you being an energy healer. They
Wow.
have absolutely nothing to do with that. Modalities are there to help you fine tune what you're doing and to help people with specific things. Like obviously Reiki, different than you would do like inner child healing, like all these
Right.
different things. But like at the end of the day, like an energy healer is an energy healer.
Mm.
It just naturally exudes out of you, right? But that's also why you're weird because your frequency is so vastly different than the majority of
Yeah.
people. Your self-awarenesses, your behavioral pattern recognition, like it's
Yeah.
not just neurodiversity, it's
Yeah.
multidimensionality. It's like I have a lot more connections
Yeah.
than most persons, but you've been too scared to kind of dip and lean into it because it's like, okay, well, I'm already struggling. but but the but actually the window to blessings and the window to you living a really fulfilled life is you becoming the true you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, as far as like steps and things like that, I know that's very overwhelming. Like
No.
this point up here. Okay.
It's like it's validating, but
Yes.
it's yeah, it's
But then it's like,
validating.
good God, like that's like
Now
a
it's like,
bajillion,
now
zillion
what?
steps.
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing is one, it's okay to have a 3D job. Now,
Okay.
if you can go a couple years without working, you just working on you, and you can really like accelerate and do what you want to do. Okay, like you can set yourself up where by the time you get out on the other side, you're into what you're meant to be in.
Okay.
Okay. So like that's you're on the path. Okay. Like nothing's gonna stop you from being on that path. Okay. It's also okay to have a 3D job while you're figuring out your soul mission. Like that doesn't mean anything about you. Now, if you don't want to do that, I totally get that though, because it sounds like you already unplugged.
Yeah, I did.
And there's
And
some workarounds of you not having to be at your parents, right? Like there is
yeah.
some options of like
Yeah.
we
Mhm.
can downscale
Yes.
and live very simple and minimal because
Yeah.
that's probably what your body needs anyway. It needs like I need to
Craving.
not do all of the things.
Yeah.
And if that means I get a studio apartment and I can be in my
Literally.
peace,
Literally.
that's great. And I can
Yeah.
just
I don't care
vibe
how
and
small.
heal and work on my spiritual stuff and my business and like just shit.
Yes.
Like that sounds like you set yourself up for success.
Literally. That's all I
Okay.
want. That's why I'm like, I need a tiny house, I need something, but like that requires so much planning, commitment. And so
Don't do that. Use this time
yeah.
to
Why does it need to be permanent? Why can't I
No,
just rent? I have the money.
this
When can
is
I just
just a
rent
stepping
something?
stone. And you don't even know where you're gonna be a year from now. Like,
Yeah.
listen, if you when you're really, are you okay on time?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you okay on
Yeah, I'm
time?
good. When you are going after what your body is telling you you need to go after in your soul, right? Even though your body's saying don't do that, but
Yeah.
we will get
Yeah.
on board. Okay. So when you are going after these things, time starts collapsing very quickly. Things start like miraculously working out and you're become a magnet, start attracting like you could be in a completely different space a year from now, like not only with your physical body, but just like in life, in reality, because you don't have a 9 to 5 that is taking up the majority of your life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can't, and we're not trying to force acceleration, but
No,
if
but
you
it
just committed
happens.
to like, hey, I'm going to sign a year lease
Yeah.
and I'm going to be in my peace and I'm really going to invest in self-care and self-love and fun and doing the things that bring me joy, you could be in a completely different reality in a year.
I
But
believe
it's
that.
scary. It's
I'm
scary because your
already
body's like,
like
I don't want to be seen
a year
because if you go down
ago.
this track,
Yeah,
then
right.
we're
Then
really on that timeline where we're going to be a completely
there's
different
no turning
identity.
back. Right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
also I feel like I've been offered this space to live like not for free, but for cheaper than I can afford. So I keep telling myself like, well, maybe you should just stay here, but like I know energetically
Yeah.
I I
That's
don't
yeah.
probably need to stay.
Sometimes being
Yeah.
around people who trigger us can be very healing because it means you got to work through that stuff, right? But at the same time, if you've got a lot of physical things that are going on, like we got to say like what are the pros and cons here? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And if you're okay financially for a
Mhm.
while, what is going to bring me more peace? What is my body saying that it needs from me?
Yeah.
Which you'll be fine either way. Like you'll get to where you're meant to be going, but it's like, what is the path going to look like?
Yeah.
Because it might be different if we stay, with our parents or if we, and not everybody has that luxury. Some people, have to do what they have to do, and that's okay too.
Yeah. And
Right?
yeah, I
That's
don't want to
fine.
seem like I'm ungrateful either. I
Yeah,
just know that like I'm struggling energetically to not absorb everything. And
sure.
like I lived alone for so long that I don't have great energetic boundaries. So being here, there have been healing moments. Um, but I haven't made even in like unpacking. It's like I can't
Yeah,
commit.
because that doesn't need to be your permanent residence. And so that's
Yeah.
another an indicator from your physical body saying, I don't want to do that. I don't feel safe, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like your physical body, even though it feels like it's kind of fighting you right now, is also trying to lead you to where you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to be doing. But you got to listen to it.
Oh, but okay, yes. No, no, but yes.
This is where
That's
we have to come in as a higher self and be like, listen, all the inner children and the teens, one, I'm going to say something over them. Okay.
mhm.
Very quickly. Okay, so Megan is shifting into this new identity, and that does not mean that y'all's timelines are going to collapse because sometimes they will not let you move forward because they say, well, if you take my trauma and my pain away, then I disappear.
Yeah,
And we have to remind them, like, no, no,
you're more
I
than that.
am unraveling that from around you so that we can all be living like free and fun and happy and boss babes over here. Okay. And having a healthy body. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to get y'all out of the muck right now, but that doesn't mean that you're being left behind because sometimes they're worried about being abandoned by the higher self of like, oh, well, you're trying to go over here and live your best life over here and we're just gonna be over here and be sad. Okay.
Seriously. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if we're not stuck in the struggle, who are we? What
Yeah.
are we? Yeah,
Hmm.
like we mean nothing, we're gone to you. Yeah.
So that can be even letting go of your pain and trauma can be
Yeah.
painful and traumatic because it's like, okay, well, now what? Right. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
if we go live in an apartment, a studio apartment by ourselves and not plug back in and don't have a job and
Wow.
people to adhere to and all this stuff, like that's been your
Can you
identity for so
imagine? Oh my
long.
God. I can't
Like, well, who
imagine.
is Megan without any attachments and who's starting fresh and brand new? One, that Megan needs to get in a community.
Yeah.
That Megan needs to find either some persons online or go to metaphysical stores or classes or like you need to find your people. We got to put yourself in places and spaces or
Right.
even like it don't have to be spiritual. Take art classes, take
Yeah.
volunteer,
Mhm.
um, hiking groups, like whatever calls and
Yeah.
speaks to you. It's people coming together for a similar mission that are doing high vibe things,
Yeah.
right? So that you can start to dip your toes in of like, oh, this could be our new reality. This could be our new life. All these different things,
Oh
right?
my God.
It's a big jump. It is.
Why, can I ask you, why am I not able to do that here? And then I just keep hearing from my parents have the best of intentions for sure, but it's like, well, who's going to help you when your back goes out? Like, are you sure you're going to be okay to live by yourself again? Like,
Because
why
they
would
don't
you?
know the new Megan. They don't know new Megan. You know new Megan. You
Okay,
know the new identity you're shifting into. All they know is past Megan. And
okay.
they're speaking to your inner children, your teens, and the Megan who could not fully support herself. And you are like, I don't want this anymore. And that's an issue with being around
Yeah.
family members sometimes is they keep you trapped in these old
Yeah.
versions of
I'm really
yourself.
struggling.
And that's
Hmm.
probably why you're like, why are you assuming that
Yeah.
that would happen? Why are you not? And I get it. They're trying to keep you safe. They're trying to protect you and all these different things, right?
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're making you scared. They're
Yeah.
making you feel like you're not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
That's where multidimensional Megan needs to come in and be like, I'm done with this reality. I'm done with this. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm done because what's happening is we are re-traumatizing our inner children and our teens and ourselves constantly, not because of your own doing, right? But just saying like, y'all are stuck and we are permanently stuck. You have to be like, I'm done with that. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this to y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're super scared,
Yeah.
but we're going to go and you're going to have to trust me.
And I'm scared of hurting my parents.
Yeah, well, you have to understand too, like people are going to perceive you how they perceive you.
Mhm.
And you have to, explain to them like, "Hey, I need to work on strengthening myself. I need to be sovereign, I need to be independent, and the only
Mhm.
way I'm going to be able to do that is by taking a leap of faith of myself."
Oh my gosh, I just got chills.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything this has nothing to do with them, and if they perceive it in that way, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, you're right.
They're on a different consciousness than you. They're on a different wavelength. They're not going to understand your vision. They're
You're
not going
right.
to understand your goals. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I know it hurts though. I know it does. And it digs at our abandonment wounds,
Yeah.
right? Higher self Megan got to come in and be like, none of that stuff is real. It is. It is real for your human, but the life that you're about to move into is like a gajillion times better.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we got to push
Uh,
through. But then I also get it because I there's been so many things that I stayed too long and that I didn't hold boundary, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm like, listen, the
I
final
can't.
straw is the final straw, and
Yeah.
sometimes the final straw is yourself.
I keep saying that like this life is not sustainable.
Yeah, so we just not grown at it. You're like really seeing like where you're at in reality, and we got to choose something different.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's hard. It was hard to even get them to like allow me to move in or like open to the idea to move in. So
And now
so
they
I
don't want you to go. Yeah, they might have issues with like transitions
yeah.
as well, you know what I mean? But remember, we have to do what's best for us. And this is like healthy. It's not like you're,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Just hearing like we turned our lives upside down for you and now you want to leave. Like, yeah, I do. Sorry.
they're your parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of this is guilt that there doesn't need to be guilt.
Yeah.
Okay. They're there as your caretakers. They're supposed to, all these different things. But I know it's still tough to work through it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm used to being there, like their caretaker and their regulator and their.
Right. So, like, is it actually right? So, it's actually just self imposed guilt. Okay. So, how do you think they would feel if they saw Megan over here without the back pain, doing things that she loved, making the money that she wanted, traveling, having fun, enjoying her life, right? Not saying your parents would enjoy that because sometimes your parents are self sab or trying to sabotage you, right? How do you think that their higher selves would feel about
Uh,
you?
I think they would feel free because I know like their higher selves worry,
Sure.
even though their
Hmm.
3D selves project. Like I know their higher selves are really just
We want her to
scared.
be living life
Yeah.
and happy and free. You need to do for their higher selves.
Okay.
Stop trying to do for their 3D humans because they probably got a whole lot of stuff going on that has not been healed and like all this stuff, right? Talk to their higher selves instead.
Okay. I
Have a
never thought
conversation
about
with
their
them.
higher.
Yeah, have a conversation with them. Go in meditation and be like, hey, let's us talk together, okay? Bypass a lot of that. And you never know, their higher selves can trickle down that information in the way
Yeah.
that they need to hear and be more receptive. And
That's
that'll
smart.
also give you peace of mind too, of like
Yeah.
taking off some of the heaviness of it, of like, okay, now I
Yeah.
have their higher selves blessing.
The idea of it makes me feel lighter
Yes, yes, more
already. Like I already
liberated.
have permission or something.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course they're gonna
Yeah.
give you permission and be like, girl, go live your best
Easy.
life. Like,
Yeah,
yes, we're
right.
supposed
That's
to
what
do
I'm
that.
thinking. Like, of course
Yeah.
they would say that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go in meditation and have a conversation with them.
Okay.
You can even bring your inner kids too. Like your inner kids, bring them to the conversation.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Do you have any questions about the things that we talked about before we finish up?
Hmm. I guess I just keep searching for answers about like what are my gifts.
Mm.
I know I've seen some of your videos that are like some people have multiple gifts and
Oh yeah.
like
Oh yeah. Yes.
so it's like how do you know what they are and when to use them? And I think one intuitive said like your the rhythm of your body and your energy is going to determine what gifts you use and when.
That's
And I
why
was
that's what when they were referring to that, they were probably saying a lot of the things that I'm saying now of like, hey, we have to feel safe in our body and
yeah.
we have to work on our physical body and working on healing ourselves because a lot of these things are not going to open up and unlock until we feel safer within ourselves and work on these abandonment and trust things because those are layers that are sitting on top of your spiritual gifts. And so it's going to be hard for you, me, or anyone else to really perceive them in their totality because your body has them kind of like on lockdown. I will say that you definitely are a quantum healer.
Okay.
Like I can read that on you. Okay. Which that's a whole, there's quantum healing is an umbrella that covers a lot of different things that you can do. Okay. I do quantum healing, like the work that I do. Okay. Like talking to people's inner children.
Yeah.
Just things that are like deep within people's Akashic records.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
You have very good behavioral pattern recognition, but that's not necessarily behavioral pattern recognition. That's psychic insight.
Oh, I thought it was like a trauma response to predict behavior.
Well, it is. Okay, it is. But for in some facets, but underneath
Yeah.
that is psychic insight. Like you probably hold on. You probably have um clairsentience. That's why your body has so many like visceral reactions. You have clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience. At least those three that I can
Yeah.
see. Okay, so those are a good place to start. Okay.
Okay.
I would say quantum healing would be a really great place for you to start.
Okay.
Quantum healing is indicative of a healer that's been healing for a long time. That's not a baby gift.
Wow.
Okay, that that is being able to
Pretty cool.
perceive some really vast things. Okay, so if you're like, oh, I really want to know what my gift is, well, then that's a big one.
Fair. Okay.
So I would start there because that's what you're going to heal yourself with too. And you can
Okay.
heal other people with it as well, like, even now. Like you're already a healer. So delving into what quantum healing is, that's a great place to start while you're helping your body feel safe and healing self.
Okay. That's
And
great.
getting
No,
yourself to a place where you feel like sometimes you need to focus on the 3D stuff first.
yeah.
Like, where
Yeah.
am I going to live? How can I
Yeah.
feel safe? How can I
Exactly.
have more fun with my inner child? Like, we need to get all that stuff.
Okay. Hmm.
And then our channels open up for the spiritual gifts to come in. But if we're panicked and in stress and fight or flight 24/7, like gifts are not important then. Like, because your human trumps everything.
Yeah.
Your human will always trump
That makes sense.
spirituality and esotericism because this is the incarnation that you're living right now.
Yeah.
which I'm going to send you this video about your physical body and your multidimensional body and getting them on board with one another.
Okay. I
Okay.
look forward to it.
It was
Okay.
very life-changing when I watched it.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. I'm gonna send you the Qigong videos
Yes,
or the
thank you.
channels, and then some
Mhm.
Reiki and EFT if I can find some as well for that. Okay.
Okay. Thank
Um, I'm also gonna send you your oracle cards and your crystal grid.
you.
It would probably serve you to get some type of mentor.
Okay.
It does not have to be me,
Mhm.
but just be on the look-sees. Okay,
Okay.
I do have the Quantum Evolution Academy where I
I was
teach
gonna
people how to
say, is that
develop their
where
gifts.
you're okay?
If
Yeah,
you want to
I've
do
been
that,
looking into it.
okay,
Okay.
so we can do that. It doesn't
Okay.
have to be
Now
me
I
though.
have the finances, so it's been like
Yes.
I had to wait for my house to close and all of that. But I had this fear of like, you have to save that money, don't touch it. But maybe I'm not supposed
Well,
to.
also if you have like a couple years worth too, like it's not a dire situation either.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, I only have like 6 months. You know what I
No.
mean? Right.
No, it's not.
And when you invest in yourself,
Yeah.
like the output that you're going to get from that is like 10 times more than whatever you're investing in it, right? Like you're like
Oh, my
it's good.
like my I'm already hearing that. Like you know this. You're just the financial fears, let go. Like this is money you have to spend so you can get where you need to be. Like I
Not money
already
that you
hear
spend,
it.
money that you invest in yourself.
Yeah. Invest. Yeah,
Invest in
invest.
yourself, right? But again, even if it's not me, just finding even if
Yeah.
it's not somebody that you're paying. Like when I first started, I didn't have the finances to hire a mentor because I was a single mom, like working
Yeah.
all the time. I found people on YouTube to look up to that were living the lives that I wanted to, that were in the places and spaces that I wanted to be, right? Or at least finding some, like if you do join the Quantum Evolution Academy, okay, there are tons of ways for you to connect with like beautiful star beams, okay, in a community. But there's also, when I first started, I found communities that were free communities to join as well, and that's okay too. We just need to be taking forward movement in
Right.
whatever way that is, whether it's YouTube mentors and free communities, that's
Right.
okay. But we
Start
need,
somewhere.
yeah, but we
Yeah.
need to be like propelling ourselves down that timeline with more action. Like, we got to meet the universe halfway, meet ourselves halfway, right?
Yes. 100%.
Watch quantum videos
Okay.
about quantum healing. Like,
Gives me
just
somewhere
start
to
there,
start.
right?
Yeah.
Having fun with our inner children.
Yeah, right. I know I have
Yeah.
so much exciting homework to do.
Yeah,
Like,
the question that needs to keep coming up is how can I invest more in me? Not
yeah.
money, always. How can I invest more self-love,
Yeah.
self-concept, having fun? Like what can I do for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was your biggest takeaway today?
I think that I'm on the right path.
Mhm.
I'm not crazy.
No.
I just haven't met the magical beings enough like yourself that make me feel valid and excited and inspired and energized versus drained. So I think just meeting you and knowing you exist and that there's like whole communities of that, just the idea of it is invigorating.
There's so
Which
many of us out here. There's
so
so
weird.
there's so many. You're just in a reality where you don't perceive them yet. But like when you get in there, you're
Yeah.
like, where have all these people
Yeah.
been? Okay. Like, and you
Yeah.
only
I
attract
mean,
them then. Like, and you're like,
yeah.
you know when you okay, you're like neurodivergent and like the only persons that you like really enjoy being around are like neurodivergent, and then all of a sudden you're just like attracted to nerd and they find you, right? It's the
That's
same thing
pretty
with
much
magical
all,
people.
yeah, all my friends are on the spectrum
Yeah.
and I'm like, I probably am, I don't know. I just yeah, yeah.
Yeah, same thing with magical people. You like just you attract one another.
Just find each other.
Okay. Yeah.
I think
So, but you also got to actively put yourself in places and spaces like
that's
metaphysical classes,
right.
stores, hiking groups, like what like you
Yeah.
got to they're not going to come knocking at your door. You got to go
No.
find them.
Yeah. That's definitely one of my biggest takeaways is like stop being I'm not stuck. So stop letting my body be physically stuck
Yeah.
because even if I'm in pain, I can Google it, I can YouTube it, I can so yeah, just to like take action is the biggest thing
Mhm.
because I feel powerless, but that's just my I'm not. Like I know I'm not.
It's just the
So
ego. It's just the trauma and the
yeah,
PTSD and stuff. And
yeah,
sometimes we do need to go see somebody to reflect that back to us, like what you're doing today. Like sometimes we really need somebody to be like, girl,
yeah.
you got it.
Needed it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And here are some
100%.
things that you can do. Okay.
Yes, this is
Yes.
exactly what I needed.
Okay,
Because I'm
cool.
like, therapy twice a week is great, but this was what I
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need like some multidimensional
Yes,
perceivability.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this is truly life-changing.
Great. Okay, good, good, good. Okay. I'm gonna send you everything. If you have any questions, just let me know and I'll get the replay to you soon, okay?
Thank you so much,
Okay, you're
Sage.
welcome. You're welcome.
Okay.
And thank you to your inner children for coming up today.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Yes. All right,
All
I'll talk
right.
to you later,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay,
All right,
thanks.
bye.
Bye.